Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel Code of Chronicles. In the last video we talked about basics of Python and variables. If you haven't seen the video, click the I button. In today's video we will talk about data types and we will discuss some types of it, okay? So let's start with a question. What is a data type? In computer programming, data type is a classification that specifies the type of value a variable can hold. What does that actually mean? Let's say, for example, if you have a value, you know it's a number or it's a text. How will a system identify what the value a variable holds? So, for that, we have a classification called data types. We have different type of data types in many different languages. In Python, we also have some data types, and we will learn them as we go on. Let's start with strings. String is a data type. But what is actually string? Strings are text in code. They can be declared in Python. Let me first open my editor. We will create a file and name it strings. Okay. Let me open my terminal and let me just go to my Python directory. We will open the code editor here. I'm using VS Code. Okay, so I'm in my editor. Let's create a file, namely strings.py, and let's just save it. Okay. So let's start with the question. What is string? String is a data type, and strings are basically text in code. Any text written in the code is strings, and it holds the value. They can be declared in Python as following. Let me declare a variable email. Okay. And let's just store a text in it. abc@com. See, it's showing an error. It's because to store text in a variable, we have to store it in the double commas. Only then will the Python understand it. It's a string. And like that, you can declare strings in Python. So what basically is happening here is the code here declares the variable email and assigns it the string abc@gmail.com, which we then can print out in the terminal. Let's just print it, email, and save it and open our terminal and just run the code python dot slash strings dot py and see here it has given us out abc@gmail.com on the terminal. We can also print out strings directly like this. I can do abc@yahoo.com and save it. And in the terminal, I can run it again and see you can directly print it out on the terminal. What if, let's say, I will print it out something else? Hello world. And I want to print it out. Okay. So here I will do this. So here you can see hello world also has been printed out in the terminal. Let's do one more thing. Let's make another variable and say password. And let's just say 1, 2, 3, 4 and just print out password. So like that, we can print out our strings onto the terminal. We can also do one more thing. Well, let's say if I want to print out hello in one line and the world in another line, we can do this print. We can do like this, hello. We can also do print world. And if I just let me clear this, print it. See, we can do that. We can print it in two different lines, but there is an easy way to do this, and it's like this. We can do hello slash n world. What actually slash n means? It tells the Python to actually print whatever comes after the slash n in the next line. And if we just run it here, we can see it will be printed in the next line. Now we can see here there's a space of one letter. It's because I just left a space here after the slash n, and it will print everything after that. Okay. So we can also print string like that. Now, let's say if let me take an example. For example, you go to a website and there you go to a login page. There you get a form, you get a text box where you have to give your username and password. So the system is asking you for an input. In Python, let's say if take an input from the user, can we do that? Yes, absolutely, we can do that. We can obtain user input using a special Python keyword or method called input. With the help of this, we can obtain the user input. Let's say we want to obtain the user's name. So in Python, we can do the following. User is equal to, will use input as I have shown above in the keyword. And in that, we will ask whatever I will write within the commas. It will get printed out on the terminal. And then we will be prompted for an input. And that input will be stored in the variable. And here it's username. Let me show you. Let's ask the user, what is your name? Okay. And just save it. And let's print out username too. We just clear the terminal. Let me just print it. And here we are being prompted for an input. And it also printed out the question, what is your name? We can write our name. Let's say John. And it has been stored in the variable username. It was printed out here. Like that, we can take the input from the user. When we run this code, the program will wait for the user actually to enter a name before continuing. And what we can also do is we can also print out the user's name like this. Let me show you. We can do your name is double commas. And let me just try to print it here. Okay. Let me just try to, let's see if it will work or not, because it is showing an error here. Let me just see if it will work or not. And here we are getting an error. Why is that? Here it is saying invalid syntax. So there's a problem in our syntax. And what is that? He's saying, the terminal is saying, perhaps you forgot a comma. Let's just try that. Okay. Let's just save it and just run the program. And let's type our name, John. Okay. Your name is John. So that way we can append anything, the print statement of different data types. Here we are printing a string. Here we're printing a variable. Without comma, we couldn't print it out because it was showing a syntax error. But with comma, we separate it and tell Python to append it when you run the code. We can also do this. We can also use plus sign here. Do the very same thing here. We just let me run the program red John and see. It also did. It also appended John with the string your name is. What is basically called? It's called string concatenation. What happens here is the Python is joining two strings together basically. Okay, the username and this very line, these two strings, it is joining them together. Okay, and it's called string concatenation. Let me just type it here. Okay. You can also do this in Python, and this is actually useful. Let's do one more example. Let's say, let me make a variable greeting, okay, and just store a string. Good. And let's just make another variable, and I want an input from the user. Okay, sorry. Actually, I want to print out what's your name. Okay, from the user. I want an input, the name. Okay. So what I will do is I will first put out greeting. Okay, and then I want to ask the question. What's okay? But as you remember, this won't work because we have syntax error to just concatenate two strings. You use the plus sign or a comma, but it's better to use the plus sign. Okay, and if I save it and I print out question, we should get the name. Okay, we just type in John. Okay, let me just type here John again. Okay, and it is printing out John here. Okay, so yeah, it is working. So this is string concatenation. That's how string concatenation works. Let me show you one last example. Let's create a variable username and take an input from the user. And let's just ask the question, what is your name? Okay. And after that, I want to print a simple statement. I want to say hello. Okay. And then I want to print out the username. For example, if I say John, I want to say hello, John. And then after that, I want to say nice to meet you. Okay. And as I told you, to concatenate strings, we just use a plus sign. I do here. And just also can add this join these three strings, we use plus sign. And if I save it and I print it here, let's just say John, John. Okay. So here it's asking me what's my name. Let's try a different name, Sam. And here it's saying hello Sam, nice to meet you. Now let's to just make it appear more beautiful, let me just tell you one thing. Here we can see it's like congested here. Hello, the word Sam and nice, it's all like together. To just fix that, we can add a space here, a space here, and just read it out again. So, see, it's not beautiful. Hello, Sam, nice to meet you. So, in short, string is a data type, and strings are text and code. Okay, this was all about strings and input about strings, like how you can take input from the user as strings. Okay, let me also talk about another data type that is called number. That's called number. To understand that, let's just make a new file and name it num.py. Okay, just close this here. So, take this here. So, number is also a data type in Python and it's self-explanatory. Numbers means the numbers we use on the daily basis. Okay, the real numbers, whole numbers, whatever values. It's the same for the Python. But in Python, it supports three types of numbers: the int, the float, and the complex. Integers do not have a decimal point, which floats do. Complex is mostly used in geometry and scientific calculations, so ignore them for now. And you can also convert numbers into strings, which Python will treat as text. Okay, what actually I meant is, let's just go through it step by step. Let me write it here. Python supports three types of numbers: int, float, and flex. As I told you, int integers, basically int is short for integers, and int do not support decimal point numbers. Integers do not have a decimal, which floats do. Okay, and complex is mostly used in geometry and scientific calculations. So we will just ignore this complex here. We do not have to like understand it right now. But to start, we have to understand what is int and what is float. And also, we have to remember one more thing, that we can also convert, we can also convert numbers into strings, which Python will then treat as text. Okay, so let's start with int, integer. Okay, so how do we actually use integer in Python? Okay, so for that, let's just declare a variable. I will declare a variable a and just store a number. As I told you, integers do not have a decimal point. So any number without a decimal point is an integer, and you can just store it in the variable. And I stored 4 in a, so it is an integer. And if I try to print it out, yeah, so here 4 is printed out on the terminal. Okay, that's how you treat integers basically. For short, for float, as I told you by the definition, floats do have decimal points. Any number having decimal point is a float. The float. So let me declare another variable, and I can store a number with decimal point. And Python will treat b as float. Okay, so this is the float. See, we can see here has declared b, that inside b there is a float, inside a there is an integer. Okay, we can do also one thing. Did I print it out? No, let me show you. Printing out. Oh, I didn't hold it to print out. I just store it. Even I did it. So 4.0. Yeah. So it is float. We can do one thing. We can do a b. So now I want to ask you the question, what will be the data type I print it out? Okay, let's check it. If I do this, I get 8.0. So here we did int, let's just make it. We did int and we did an operation of addition with the float, and it gave us float. So we have to remember that int plus float always gives out as the data type float. Okay, I want to also talk about something. Let's just say I have an float a is equal to 1. Let's just say I have this. Okay, I want to convert it into an integer. Okay, so how can I do that? To do that, we just put it inside the int. Okay, we basically put it inside the int. This keyword int, we will put a inside this. And what it does is it converts whatever is inside a into the integer, and it removes all the decimal point. So if I run it, it it's 4. Okay, and just to be clear, let me just change it and get it x. Okay, so that we won't actually, you guys will think different, but change it. It confirmed that it does change. So to int. So we can do type conversion. This is called type conversion. So we are converting one data type to another. Okay, and the above I told you, we can convert numbers into strings. So that is also a type conversion. We can also do one thing. Let me show you this. Let me type a is equal to 4. Top with the a's. Let me just this c is equal to 4. Okay, and I want to convert it into float. Okay, so it's the same as int. I will do print, just pass it inside this float. Okay, keyword. Let me just print it out here, and we should get 4.0, and I got that. Okay, so yeah, that's another way of type conversion. We can also take numbers as input from the user. We can take almost any type of data. We can take almost anything as input from the user. Here we are taking numbers as input. So to understand that, let me tell you one thing. If you want a user to enter a number that you can then manipulate in Python, For example, multiplying the user's age by 5, you will want to make sure that the Python understand a number instead of string. What do I mean is that input always returns a string type. So in the previous data type string, whenever we used to enter something, just for example, we asked a question, what is your name? And we typed something. It always got stored, and it got stored as a string. Okay. So whatever now I will enter, the input keyboard will always return me it in the form of string. Okay. So it will always return a string type. But we can tell Python exactly what variable it to be by again type conversion. Let me show you by what I mean there, and that's not bore you with my explanation. Let's just say I want a number. Okay. I want to take input from the user. I will ask the user to enter a number. Okay. Simple. I ask the user to enter a number. And I will print number. Okay. Let me just first run it. Okay. And it told asked me enter the number, and let me just start with the number 3. And it gave me an output 3. Okay. No problem until now. Let me do another thing. I want to now do some calculations with it. For example, I want to multiply it bit by 5. The same it and then just run it again. If I say 3, it's giving me 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. But I think I have learned 3 times 5 is 15. What is this 3, 3, 3, 3, 3? This is what I meant. Whatever we enter, the input always returns a string type. And in strings, when you multiply it by 5, it gets repeated. It gets repeated. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Basically, this 3 is string. So tell Python that it's actually an integer, actually a number data type. You have to tell it and tell that we just this. We actually do this. What is actually happening here is, let me tell you very clearly. Here, when this program will run, okay. So, firstly, the Python will ask us, the user, to enter a number, and the number will get converted as soon as you hit the enter. The number will get converted into string. After that, when this, this input is like executed, then it will go to int, and this int will convert that string into integer, and then this will actually be a number data type. And after that, we can actually do the actual calculation like number. We can treat it like a number. If I run this, it will give me 15. So it actually worked. So this is what I meant by we can convert number into strings and strings into number. Vice versa. Okay. So this was the number data type. Now I will wrap up my video by just telling you that there are other data types and we shall discuss them in the next following videos. But for now, this was string and number data. I hope you liked my video. If you have any confusion, if you have any questions, just tell me in the comments. But if you have any suggestions, feel free to give me. Please subscribe to my channel, give me a like, hit the notification bell. Thanks for watching the video. Goodbye.